So, are you an enthusiast or a collector? That's a common enough question in our little community. You often hear people refer to themselves as, I'm more of an enthusiast. I don't really think of myself as a collector. The idea being that somehow being an enthusiast and being a collector are kind of in opposition. I think that's actually a fairly silly way to look at the distinction, and we'll get more into it after the intro. Hi, I'm Pete McConville and welcome to my channel. Here I like to overthink, overanalyze, and just geek out on watches far more than a grown man should. Today, I want to tackle, I want to do a really short video. It's my birthday and I'm supposed to be somewhere else, so I've got to cut this short. Two, it's a nice tight little topic. And the topic is enthusiast or collector. Which one are you? And is that even a sensible question? And you know what? I'll cut to the chase. It's not. Why isn't a sensible question? Basically because enthusiasm and collecting describe two fundamentally different activities. They're not really an either or. They're not in opposition. Rather, they're orthogonal to each other. One is describing something utterly different than the other. I'm not a fan of dictionary definitions. I'm not going to go to a dictionary and give you the definition of one versus the other because I don't think that's helpful. Rather, what I'll do is give you a summation of all the various meanings, all the various denotations and connotations that come with enthusiasm and come with collecting. In summary, pretty much any way you look at enthusiasm, it's about feelings, thoughts, zeal, interest, your excitement by something, your desire to know more, to experience more, to see more, to hear more. That's enthusiasm. You'll note there is nothing in enthusiasm relating to the idea of possessing. There's no requirement in a single definition, in a single use of enthusiasm that ever talks about possessing an item, a thing, a concept, whatever. The idea of possession, ownership is not part of enthusiasm. Collecting, on the other hand, or being a collector, is exactly the opposite. Look at every definition, every denotation, every connotation you can find of collecting, and it's always going to come back to the idea of possessing, of buying, of owning, of having. That is essential to the idea of being a collector. To describe yourself as a stamp collector but not own any stamps makes no sense. To describe yourself as a Ferrari collector but not own any Ferraris makes no sense. But to describe yourself as a Ferrari enthusiast because you read all the books, you go to all the races, you buy all the merch, makes complete sense. So in short, if you're interested in something, if you have passion for something, if you want to know more about something, if you want to get involved in something, you're an enthusiast. If you want to own something, if you want to possess something, if you want to have that thing in a box and be able to call it yours, you're a collector. That's how it goes. Which means all of us are to some extent enthusiasts and collectors. What's interesting about that is then how do we define, how do we figure out what we do, what we are in each of those spheres? Well, for collecting, it's relatively straightforward. Look at what you own. Look at what you own or have owned and then sold on, and that tells you something about the nature of your collecting and what kind of collector you are and how you go about it. As far as enthusiasm goes, how do you measure, define, communicate your enthusiasm? I would say the easiest way is to look at the blogs and the books and the articles you read. Look at the videos you consume and watch. Look at the podcasts and list them out that you listen to. That will define your enthusiasm. That will define what it is that you're likely to be into and your enthusiasm, your interest, your zeal, your excitement is. So does that mean that you can be an enthusiast but not a collector of a bunch of watches? Absolutely. In fact, I dare say most of us have a much bigger circle of enthusiasm than we have of collecting. Does lead to an interesting question. Can you be a collector of something that you're not an enthusiast of? And again, I would say maybe not in this community, maybe not if you're coming to YouTube and watching watch videos, but we all know people that own a bunch of watches, own a very nice collection of watches, but couldn't tell you anything about them. Aren't in the community, don't care about watches at all. They've just accumulated these expensive trinkets over the years. I would say there's a classic case of people who are collectors without necessarily being enthusiasts. An important question here, does any of this matter? Is it really important? Absolutely not. Nothing we talk about, nothing we do, nothing we show is actually important. None of it really is that, matters that much, except to us in our own little space, our own little niche, where we ask ourselves these kind of real first world problem questions. And so given that we are in this little niche, I figured it was a video worth doing. That is it. That is the video. We are done here. I've been Pete McConville. I will see you later. Bye.